Awesome. So we're going to keep moving along here. Our next speaker is Gena McKinnley. Gena McKinnley is a Strategic Initiatives Division Manager for the City of Austin, the Texas Resource Recovery Department, which leads implementation of the City of Austin's Zero Waste Plan. She has spent over 15 years working in the solid waste industry. Her leadership, commitment, and advocacy for zero waste earned national recognition as she was chosen to be included in Waste 360's 40 Under 40 list of rising stars in the industry. So please welcome Gena.
Thank you. And hello, I'm Gena from Austin, Texas, one of the few, I think, non-Californians in the room. But thank you for having us here today. Like was mentioned, the city of Austin does have a zero waste goal, and that is to divert 90% of material from the landfill by the year 2040. And I'm here today to talk about a specific program within one of our programs called our Circular Economy Program, and that is reverse pitch. And it's one of many programs within our circular economy kind of strategic plan. The overall goal of our circular economy team and vision is to make Austin the most vibrant circular economy program in the United States, where materials are reused, repaired, shared, and recycled to their fullest extent in the local economy. And today I'm going to talk about a pitch competition where we attempt to take those local materials and support entrepreneurs to create new jobs within the city of Austin. Let's see here. Am I hitting the right button? There we go. So what is Reverse Pitch? Reverse Pitch is a social innovation program to help turn valuable raw materials currently leaving local businesses as waste into the foundation of new social business ventures. So material streams that are headed to the landfill, we're looking for new ways to repurpose those materials. And how does it work? It's a pretty simplified process that involves two pitches. Step one is that first pitch where we recruit material suppliers from the city of Austin. So looking for local businesses, institutions, and nonprofits that have those materials that they're currently sending to the landfill. And we ask that they come and pitch those materials. We set up an event much like this one and pitch those materials to a room full of investors, entrepreneurs, people who are interested in coming up with creative ideas and ways to use those materials. The step two is then that room full of creative minds gets to work, and they put together that we pair them up with mentors and advisors, and they put together plans to use one or more of the materials that they heard in that initial pitch and come up with a business plan that they then submit to us. And then the next step, step three, is another pitch where those creative minds then pitch their ideas to a panel of judges, and those judges then select the winners and they receive a prize. I'll talk a little bit about how the program has shifted. This has been in place since, I believe, 2015. So we've learned some things over the years, but initially it was 2 cash prizes of $10,000 each, as well as some additional resources. So I'll talk a little bit about the roles, the different players within the competition. First, we have the material suppliers. I mentioned this already, but they're businesses and nonprofits that produce an ongoing surplus of some sort of byproduct or scrap product. And they have to be willing to work with these entrepreneurs. We're really looking for a regular supply of material, not a one-off byproduct, but something that would have some regularity in the stream for these entrepreneurs to work with, because we're looking to support lasting business models, sustainable business within our community. Here's an example of some of our past material suppliers. So you see it kind of runs the gamut: vinyl records and VHS tapes. There's some food products, oyster shells, spent grain, furniture. This year we just kicked off our initial pitch in February, and this year's material suppliers include plastic boxes from a bioscience incubator. I think this is a remnant of COVID testing. They're little plastic boxes with holes. So It's a piece of plastic with a lot of holes printed out of them. We have some fabric from a local reuse store. We have school lunch milk cartons, so emptied out. So a lot of cartons from our independent school district, and then expired bulletproof vests that come from a Travis County prison operation. And that is not the first material we've had from them. In the past, we've had plastic sandals that the inmates wear, and those have been turned into a product that I'll get to later in the presentation. We also have mentors, like I said, in that second step, where the entrepreneurs are coming up with their ideas. We do create a system where we have mentors to support them. It could be anything from seasoned business professionals, folks from our economic development program, legal advice, you name it. We try to pull in as many resources as we can. The expectation is that they are volunteering their time for about 5 to 7 hours over the course of a couple of months. We also have advisors that could have specific subject matter expertise, depending upon what the material supplies are for that year, and they just need to be available and willing to answer questions as they come up. And then we have a panel of judges. These are the folks who are involved in really identifying the winners at the end of the process. So these can be people in the lending world, startup world, waste business experts. We try to gather a number of experts from across the field. And then our competitors. So these are the social entrepreneurs that are looking to make a difference, want to create or expand a successful business within Austin. Now, quickly, time is tripping away. So I'm going to go over some of our winners. This was one of our early winners. It's the second year into the program. The winner was Grub Tubs. So there was a food surplus that was pitched as a material that year, and they took, this was non-edible surplus, and so they took that and turned it into a high quality animal feed for local farmers. And you can see that the initial prize from the reverse pitch competition led to multiple other awards and investments in this over the years. It also helped support an existing policy within the city of Austin that requires that local businesses with a food permit divert organic material. So this really created a solution for that policy, which is a really great circular effort across so many different ways, and created jobs in our community. Here's some other winners. This was using spent grain from a local distiller. We had a couple of different solutions there. In 2019, we had an HID polycarbonate plastic. So this is a multi-layered plastic material that was used to punch things like driver's license or credit card. So a multi-layer, you punch out the cards and then you have these frames. So they were used in a couple of different creative ways. One to create eyeglass frames, and then another was to print 3D furniture using the plastic to print that. And this is an example of the piece of furniture. So the company was called Re3D, and they partnered with Habitat for Humanity Restore to upcycle wood and then print the plastic from the 3D process to create this furniture that they then sold in their stores. They also took an opportunity to provide some education about where the materials were sourced from. And then here in 2020, you can see we had some planters that were made from scrap vinyl records. Terra Helmets was the company I mentioned. We had the plastic sandals from the inmate at the Travis County Correctional Facility, and that was combined with some of the other materials to create an innovative bicycle helmet. And so some of the changes I mentioned, and over the years, we were able to support these business opportunities, but we did hear from the people who participated that it was a bit challenging. The cash prize came at the end. And so what they really needed was some funding to get them through that initial startup phase. And so sorry, I skipped this slide. This is the last year, some of the other examples of businesses that were created. But really quickly, what we did based on what the feedback that we heard, rather than awarding only two large cash prizes, we changed the program from receiving 2 winners to establishing fellows. So we pick 4 innovation fellows and provide them with a longer time period. So it went from 2 months to 4 months, and provide them each with a monthly stipend of $1,000, as well as a number of different opportunities that really, I think, between the cash and the in-kind prize, it's about a $16,000 investment in each business. They're entered into an accelerator program. They have a year subscription to a co-working facility. They get a membership with a local chamber. And so we really try to put a lot of resources so that we can support more businesses within the city of Austin. And I can talk a little bit more of that one-on-one if you'd like. That 10 minutes goes fast, but reversepitch.org is where you can get a lot of details about the program. That's my contact information. And I will say in the city of Austin, this program is led by a program manager, the Circular Economy Program, and it is currently vacant and we are hiring. So if you have anybody in Texas or elsewhere that would be interested in doing more of this kind of work, please look at our jobs. It's a Circular Economy Program Manager. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that job opportunity as well. And we will move on to questions. Let's see, any questions from our live audience? Raise your hand really high so I could see you.
Did you have a wide amount of applicants in the very first year? And then in the subsequent years, have you had any struggles to find, like, how do folks hear about this?
It's definitely grown, and it's not as easy as one might think. On the very first year, we announced a $20,000 prize. That's a pretty good incentive, but it really takes developing partnerships over the years to understand what we're talking about when we say circular economy and a circular business. Also, just from the material side, finding those businesses that are willing to take this risk to pitch a material, knowing that they might be entering into some sort of longer term partnership with a company isn't that easy. Just this past year, there have been a lot of things happening over the, with the pandemic and everything, but we really did struggle a little bit to get our material suppliers. We do things, I also oversee our public education team. And I didn't mention that the Circular Economy Program in Austin is a partnership of Austin Resource Recovery, which is the department I work in, our solid waste utility, as well as our economic development program. And so having that partnership in place really does help us, because having the economic development tools and assets and connections can help us spread the word. We also partner with our local chamber, which does help get us to the right audience, but it's not as easy as one might think. We put a lot of boots to the ground to try and get both the material suppliers and the entrepreneurs that are interested.
Great. From our virtual world.
We have a question from Jasmine Liu. What have vinyl records been repurposed, utilized for, since I know that the production of vinyl records required and some still require a significant amount of lead cadmium?
I don't know the details on the lead, but we should take that back to the planter people. So the vinyl records, the prize that I can remember is a planter. So I think they might have used one of our other materials, but the main material was for creating planters. So like a planter pot. But I will have to look into that and make sure that that is being mitigated for in the process. But that's an example of through the advisors and mentor roles. That's one of the like technical aspects, which is something worth mentioning, that when the material suppliers are pitching the materials, we do ask them to provide any sort of specifications like that if there's a potential that a product might contain lead or some other hazardous property. So that is something that we ask them to divulge. In some cases, it might be trade secret or not something that they want to broadcast in a very public pitch competition, but they do agree to have those one-on-one conversations with the entrepreneurs that might be using their product.
Great. And we have a little bit of time. Is there one more question that we'd like to answer? Anything? Oh, how about way in the back?
So thank you for coming all the way out to California. but I also wanted to ask if you worked with the University of Texas at Austin. So I have colleagues out there. And to make a pitch for everyone in the room that please do work with your colleges and universities and bright students who are at each of the campuses. And I would certainly connect you with my colleague at University of Texas, Austin.
Thank you. And yes, we definitely do partner with local universities. University of Texas is one of them. We also, Houston-Tillotson is another university within our area. And as we have transitioned from the 2 cash prize award winners into our innovation fellowship, one of the partnerships is with Texas State University, which is in San Marcos, just south of Austin. And they actually have a grant program to support this effort. And so they then the innovation fellows that are selected are funneled through an accelerator program at Texas State University and have the opportunity to get additional funding through their grant program. So it definitely takes a lot of partnerships, and we've really built out the resources over the years thanks to those other partners. Because as the solid waste utility, we don't have the access or the expertise to all of the dollars and different economic incentives or things that someone might need as they start their social entrepreneurship.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gina.